here at the house. I have my second patch of Salanova lettuce sprouting. So this is gonna go out to the greenhouse. It is raining out, watering in all my new seeds. I just pulled the table out of this greenhouse so that I only have to go into one greenhouse to water all my little soil blocks. I put the new patch of lettuce here next to the first patch. And then I got all my other little guys. I need to thin these out when I get a chance. And I pulled the tarp off my mint pots, and I think I'm gonna put these guys outside so they get some water. Okay, so I've got my two little mint pots here in between the greenhouses, and I don't know where I'll put them eventually. It wasn't raining when I first came out here, so I'm just wearing a shirt and I got sopping wet. Yes, I'm in the compost bin. Digging for carrots. Don't judge me. Hey folks. So it's been raining and raining, which is awesome because it's watering in my freshly seeded beds out in the garden. But I've been kind of just living in filth and swilth up at the house. I finally dug myself out yesterday and kind of tidied things up and came out here and thinned some little soil blocks. I didn't really have to do anything with the lettuce because it's just mostly one seed per cell. But the parsley, I put a number of seeds per cell just in case I got poor germination. So these are all pretty much one little plant per soil block. And green onion sets. Bok choy, which always grows faster than everything else. And a few holes in my kale soil blocks, but these are all thinned down to one plant per block. These are my collard greens, that's why they're bigger. It is 46 degrees in here, Fahrenheit. Okay folks, so I got both of my stand-up soil block makers. One is the little guy here, well, with the little soil blocks. And the other one has the larger soil blocks, which is similar to, you know, the handheld one that I've been using as far as the size of the soil blocks. But I've been putting it, you know, into my little tub, trying to make soil blocks with it. And like, I don't know, I'm trying to get them out pull the thing out without them falling out. And they just keep falling out into the tub. So yeah, this is what it looks like. And I tip it up and try and pull them out to transfer them over to the tray. And they don't transfer. I suppose I could just like lift them one by one out of here, you know, and transfer them over here. Yeah, so this is the handheld soil blocker that Tyler modified so that I can use it standing up. And it's almost, I think, easier to use this. Oh. How did I do this before? Oh yeah, I had to do it without shoes. And then I can just go like this. Dude, so that's just way easier. I'm just gonna use Tyler's modified soil blocker. Yes, I spent all the money on these. Well, maybe at some point when my hands aren't all monkeyed up, I can experiment with these stand-up blockers a little bit more. But for now, I'm gonna do what I'm used to doing. So I got my soil blocks done. I'm gonna seed those tonight. I totally forgot my first big batch of soil blocks to seed some mature chard with the new variety that I have. Also, last week I was supposed to seed my first batch of basil for the greenhouse, but I was so busy, you know, prepping beds and seeding stuff out here in the garden, so I didn't get that done, so I need to do that. Also, I'm due to start my cucumbers, which I normally do in larger soil blocks. So I don't know if I'm going to do those tonight in the smaller soil blocks or if I'll wait a week. I'm not sure. I also need to decide whether I'm going to do my next batch of Salanova lettuce. 2 of them, green onions that are coming up. Yeah, so right now I am going to quickly use this dry bit of few hours to see if I can't maybe seed some beds out here. I seeded all of these beds last week. Wasn't sure what to do with this last one, which was planned to be seeded in some sort of baby greens. I think I'm just gonna go ahead and rake the seaweed off into the pathway and Jang seed it with spinach. I got a lot of spinach seeds, so I think that's what's gonna go in next. I'm a little afraid that the birds will come through here and kick this stuff, the seaweed, all over this bed. But I'd really rather it be over on this side than over here in the sand. Last week I messed up my gears on the Jang seeder. I wanted 1-inch spacing, so that would be gears 10 in the rear, 13 in the front, with the 24-hole roller. So I swapped them on accident. So I'm gonna be more careful this time because I'm gonna do 1-inch spacing. Okay, right? 10 in the rear, 13 in the front. That is 10 in the rear, 13 in the front. And I'm gonna be using the F24 roller for the spinach. Okay, gears are changed. F24 roller in, seeds ready. And I should point out that I've had this felt piece pulled out for all of my seeding this year. Good for some seeds. I'm just doing it for all of them. Okay, I'm just doing 5 rows on this bed. 4.32 ounces before seeding, and after seeding we've got 3.76 ounces. I probably should have put some fertilizer in this bed like I did these other 2 beds of greens, but I didn't really want to, and I was kind of hoping that maybe with the seaweed sitting out here all winter, maybe some nutrients went down into the soil. So I'm just going to cover this thing up because I have had a few robins out here pecking around, so that'll keep the robins out. Before I cover this bed up, I think I'm going to grab this driftwood that I have been using to pin down some tarps over my carrot beds through the winter, and I'm going to use them over here where I've got a couple of beds where the clovers are really coming up through the seaweed. So these 2 beds of clover I had smothered really well with seaweed, but once the birds started coming through and kicking around, they were able to pop right up through here. So I think I'm just going to cover both these beds with the tarps, throw the driftwood on, and I'll be transplanting it into these later. So that'll be a nice mulch for when those are ready. I raked out my little sand garden here at the edge. I got this covered. I went ahead and tried to cover my seaweed pathway. We'll see how that works. Tarps, whatever on here. Driftwood, weighting things down. I don't know if I'm gonna be able to have this on long enough to make it worthwhile, but there it is. I'm probably gonna take a few minutes this evening to try and button up any holes in the greenhouses because the golden crown sparrows should be showing up if they're not already showing up, and they like to eat vegetation. And last year they nibbled on everything in my greenhouses. So I need to do that. I've also, if I just have a few minutes, I'd like to run some more beets in that half bed that I seeded last week because my spacing wasn't proper and I'd like to get more seed in there. So I might do that too this evening. I don't know. I gotta go do dinner things. Stacked hats. Okay, I'm back at it. Before I did dinner, I patched up as many holes in the greenhouses as possible, finding as many little crannies that a bird might get into. So hopefully that's okay. I've uncovered this bed here where I did 5 rows of beets, and I'm gonna run in between those rows and do 4 more rows of beets. I'm gonna do 1-inch spacing. So I'm gonna leave the gears the same way. I'm gonna use the LJ24 roller with the brushes up, just like I did the last time. But yeah, I'll have tighter spacing this time because last time it was like 2+ inches. So I need more beets in there, I think. Weight before seeding, 0.55 ounces. 0.33 ounces after seeding. I hope I put enough seed in. Okay, folks, so that is it. Yes. I've just got to seed the soil blocks up at the house tonight. I should tell you what's going to be new and exciting next week, but I don't know what I'm going to be doing. Stuff. Bye. Warning, people, I'm about to show you a picture of a gross slug. This is my first gross slug of the year.